Princess Diana once said, I don't go by the rule book, I lead from the heart, not from the head. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerdy Optometrist. This is your host, Ukti Vora. Our guest for today is a really special optometrist who has led a lot of path and been a great leader. Started her journey in 2003 from Lotus College of Optometry. For the past 13 years, she has led optometry from all her heart. She is currently working as a senior manager at Mission for Vision, a non-profit organization working towards eradication of blindness. She's been part of various optometry roles, starting from professional services, clinical optometry, academics, public health, and research. She's been awarded as the Best Optometry Student of India in 2007 by ASCO India and Johnson& and Johnson. She's also been awarded as a Young Investigator Award by Asia Arvo in 2011. Not just optometry, she calls herself a lazy photographer, but she's amazing at what she does. So, warm welcome to my mentor, friend, and a teacher in an actual term who taught me during my optometry days, Miss Sweta Patel. Thank you so much, Shweta ma'am, and welcome to this podcast.
Ukti, I can't tell you how happy I am to be on this, and I'm so proud of you of what you are doing currently. So thank you so much for having me on this platform, which you are running, and trust me, you're doing an amazing job. So proud of you.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Though we started as a student teacher relationship, it has now converted to be more on a friendship. So thanks for being my friend beyond optometry college.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Trust me.
Wonderful. Now, going to a basic question which I ask everyone for the fact optometry is not recognized or it wasn't famous when you started optometry back in 2003, how did you bump into this profession?
Okay, so it's an interesting thing. Of course, as most of us, I never planned for optometry. I had no clue what it is. It was at that time. It was my father who actually bumped on this in one of the newspaper. I actually wanted to be a farmer. I mean, I'm not joking. I was interested in agriculture, and my family is like. A lady and a farmer and an agriculture, so it was like a big no,
Mhm.
and the next field which I was interested in was biotechnology and pharmacy. But somehow, due to the Indian education system general category, I couldn't get into anything. And I happened to be in optometry. First 3 months I was like a grumpy teenager who was very angry with her father, who happened to put her into something which she was not interested in. But then the journey was such a rewarding and quite, I would say, eventful, because I never had any expectations, but somehow I kept meeting amazing people who actually inspired me all the time. So that's how I am here today in front of you, and it has been a rewarding journey for me.
It is so interesting. All my podcasts, when I ask these questions, everyone has amazing story where they just, are into this profession and then they just have fallen in love with it.
True.
Going to the next question, where I do know you have been part of so many roles, whether it's academic, research, professional services, or, currently in non-profit public health. Can you share a little in brief about your journey so far?
Okay, so on a lighter note, I maybe I have not made up my mind yet. All this while for 13 years, so that's why I've been, jumping. But that's a joke actually. So I started after graduation. I actually, love teaching my classmates. I mean, when we used to do group studies, I was the one who would take a lead. So I thought, why not, try
Mhm.
teaching. But I thought, I was not that great in public speaking. So meanwhile, I had, very strong interest in, clinicals. So meet at that time, I remember Dr. Deepak Garg, who was,
Yeah.
part of Orbis pediatric department, and Dr. Nipa. I was very inspired by them, and the way they used to do pediatric workups, and the way they were as a people, so amazing, humble, and charismatic, and excellent at their job. So that's how I started with my pediatric optometry fellowship. I was in it for a year, and then I joined as a full-time faculty researcher and a consultant at Lotus College of Optometry, and that was purely because of my love for teaching And because of Prema Chande, Mrs. Prema Chande, who is our
Right.
principal, I'm really inspired by her. I mean, the way she is handled, and she's a very strong woman. So I thought, why not, try? And again, I have this thing that if I find something which
Wow.
I'm not good at, I would love to try that. So I love challenging myself all the while. So it was that decision to be on the stage where I have to face student, ask their answer their questions, and be on my toes, be in that uncomfortable situation. To be honest, it was very big deal for me. I'll share something personal with you. I have an education, like my secondary education in vernacular medium.
Yeah.
So speaking, I mean, I'm taught in Gujarati language till 10th standard. So speaking in front of a huge
Wow.
crowd, it was a very big deal for me. So I thought, why not try it? And that's how I just landed up. And I love teaching. I call myself a passionate educator
Mhm.
because it comes very naturally to me, and I genuinely enjoy. I don't feel tired. If you will tell me, okay, teach
You
me this subject, I can just go on. So I enjoy personally, and I think my students and also enjoy it. So
absolutely. I can vouch for that. I have been part of a student journey.
yes. So, yeah, that's how I was part of Lotus College, where I donned a lot of hats, including teaching, doing consultation, specifically for vision therapy, pediatric optometry, and contact lenses. So that gave me a lot of exposure, managing patients, communication skills, etc. And then, because I was doing my master's at the same time, I got involved into
Right.
research. So I had an amazing my mentor, Urmi Vora. So again, a female, very strong person and amazing at her work. So she inspired me. My topic was on intermittent exotropia, and you don't get these people. It was a
Mhm.
prospective study. So intermittent exotropia, if I tell you, the incident rate was 1 in 10,000. So I was very upset, like, okay, I'm not going to
Mhm.
get my patients. It was almost a year, and I had to finish my thesis. So she actually
Right.
stood by me, and we finally had 15 patients in our study on vision therapy. And I happened to go on and win the Asia Arvo award for young investigator for the same study.
Research.
So
Right.
so it was like, I still can't believe there are times like this which keeps you going, and you need right kind of people who believes
Absolutely.
in you. So research happened because of that. And uh, uh, and then there was this something which struck me, as we are talking about the journey. I was doing very well in
Yeah.
academics, but I somehow felt that I had hit a
Mhm.
roadblock, that I wanted to do something different. I couldn't understand I felt that, okay, I do understand the student part, academics and consultation. I actually wanted to go out and understand the
Right.
commerce, and how the other industry or the market works. Honestly, I had no clue, and it just that because I had a lot of friends, and they would keep talking about it, and I would feel, okay, I have no clue about what happens
Right.
outside. So that's how I started thinking about joining corporates. So and thanks to some good role models at that time and till now, like I'm sure Nilesh sir has been over
Yes.
here in the podcast as well. So Nilesh Thite, Amod Gopte sir, so they were like, I would look up to them, and I would feel like, wow, what a command, what a persona, and such a charismatic people. So I thought, why not me over that? So that's how that's how I
I like the women leadership instinct that comes out of you when you see these mentors. I can completely, understand that vibe that inspires you to, look up to them and reach that level and work hard towards it.
absolutely. So, honestly, it was not easy for me to crack corporates, because for them, I was a novice. Even if I had like
Right.
5 years of experience at that time in 2012, it did not matter, because I had had no experience in corporate, but somehow, I again found good people who could believe in me, during the interviews, etc. And thanks to my strong optometry skills, they I got a chance to work with Johnson and Johnson as a professional affair consultant. I was with them for like 4 years, and then I worked
Yeah,
with Bausch and Lomb for another 4 years, and it was actually a very rewarding journey. I'm not exaggerating. Actually, I learned so much, so much. I cannot explain it in the word. So my thinking
wonderful.
process, all the thing, it changed for better. Of course, it was extremely challenging because we are working cross functionally with multiple teams, and it's business. Okay, so you have to get to on that level of wisdom, that how you make sure that everybody is on the same page and keep doing what is required for the health of your patients, as well as you have to keep in mind the business part of it. So
Absolutely.
it was a very good experience which I've had working in corporate sector, where I was leading the technical team for the west region of India.
I do know you were awarded by Johnson and Johnson as well,
Yes.
right? Yeah, and that's where I think I just want. I'm not sure if you're aware about it, but few of my batchmates, we were just discussing that in whichever sector Shweta ma'am goes, she'll just go and excel it. So that is something which we I just wanted to share on this podcast as a confession that we always looked up to. Like, she's academic excellent, when it goes to like corporate, again excellent, because initially we loved your teaching
Yeah.
and we used to feel, why is she going to corporate, like, she's meant to be a teacher. And then you come up with awards and we're like, ah, okay, wherever she'll go she'll just excel. So
Thank you. I mean,
that is something which I have a very clear image of, you getting the award and we doing this discussion in the background.
actually, it was a big deal for me because I also didn't believe that what the hell happened. I think it's personally, I genuinely think it's about your attitude and the kind of hard work which you would like to put at learning the skills. I mean, not the goal of, okay, I want to be successful. That's just a goal. I mean, everybody wants to do that. So that's nothing. I don't think that is important. It's about how much skill you develop, and honestly, people do recognize. So I did not plan for all these things, to be honest. It just blessings.
And your hard work, we cannot take
Yes.
that lightly. We have seen you working much harder than we being the students. So I'm definitely going to give you 100% credit on all the hard work that you've put in. Now, talking
Thank
about
you.
your current role in public health, after
Yes.
academics, corporate, people usually have a huge barrier when someone talks about public health and NGO specifically.
Yes.
Can you? I do know we had this conversation offline where you shared how public health or working with an NGO is so amazing and it has so many avenues that we don't get a chance to even look into from the outside world. So first, can you share your journey in your current role with Mission for Vision?
Absolutely. So, Ukti, as I told you that I was really doing well in my corporate, and this is, I think, somewhere around 2018 end. I actually wanted to, move to something which I felt in my core very, close to my values. I always wanted to go back to, in community. Somewhere I had this thing, and I think I had good exposure in terms of corporate and academics. So I
Right.
was looking for what next, as usual. After 4 years I get that itch. What next? So I happened to meet Prema ma'am, as she's my mentor, and we just started talking, and that's when she told me about there is an opening in Mission for Vision, and why don't you try. Honestly, I'll tell you what was my reaction. I was like, ma'am, it is in Hindi. I told her that, ma'am, abhi kya jhola leke ghumaoge kya aap meko? So that means that you want me to go around. like putting a jhola, like a small bag on my, it's
Right.
that's how we perceive NGOs, right?
Right.
So she just looked at me and smiled, and she's like, Mrs. Elizabeth Kurian, she heads this NGO, and I really look up to her. I think you would love once you meet her. So I was like, of course it came from Prema ma'am. And when I heard about Elizabeth ma'am, whom I knew as a student, because we worked a lot of in camps which were supported by Sightsaver at that time.
Hmm.
So Mrs. Elizabeth Kurian was heading Sightsaver, and I had an opportunity to see her from distant, of course, because I was a student, and I saw the kind of person she was. Such a humble, so amazing, and again charismatic. And I love, strong women leader. So I
Right.
thought, why not? We need to keep an open mind. जाके मिलकर आओ, like just go and have a talk and
Yeah.
see if you are, a right fit for it. It's not that if I'm going I need to take it, or they will be ready to take me. So
Right.
because again I had no background in social
Public.
sector.
Yeah.
So I went there, and when I met the team, when I met ma'am, I actually fell in love with the kind of work which Mission for Vision does. So that's how I started this public health journey. It's just been a year, to be honest. And what I am leading right now is an educational initiative, as well as
Hmm.
clinical auditing of all the vision centers which are run by Mission for Vision. So just to give an idea about public health to
Right.
our audience right now, when we think like as a student or as a professional, public health, when the word, actually we just get a little confused. We think about research methodology, we think about epidemiology, we think about dry numbers.
Right.
Honestly, even I thought that way. And if I just say the word boring, uh, so because that's how it has been, for us, because we were into clinicals and the way we have been taught things, and there is no one to blame. It's that's just the perceivable of things. But actually, if I just make it simpler for everybody to understand, public health is, it's just the way to give back to society, taking care of the health of the entire community. And you are the person who will be doing it. For that you need certain things. First you need to have a data. Like we used to, when we were studying, we used to read about WHO definition of blindness, or
Right.
incident rate of this, etc., etc. Now these data actually tells me, okay, if I'm having a class of 10 student, out of 10, 3 people are supposed to, I'm just giving you an example, okay? So
Right.
3 people are supposed to have a refractive error. Now if we know, okay, 30% of them have refractive error, how do we address this issue in terms of the recognition, and then treating it? So
Right.
then we have to devise a plan, right? Okay, 30% of people require it. So now how do we reach those 30% of people? Where are they present currently? How we will reach them? What services which we can provide to them? How are we going to create the supply chain for it? Where the human resource will come from? And once they get the services, how do we make sure that how we monitor and evaluate our services? So
Hmm.
this is what actually public health is all about. And it's extremely interesting, unlike what we feel being an outsider.
I
So
absolutely.
and here so it's like you apply all the things which you have learned, including your clinicals, because as I told you that I do clinical evaluation of vision centers, which are a satellite clinic, like an optometry clinic, which is present in the I would say a small village, where it takes care of 50,000 people's eye health service need. So imagine, that one center is going to take care of 50,000 people, and you have to make sure that it is functioning well, so that the community gets benefited out of it. So, yeah, so this is
Right.
what is public health.
Absolutely. I think what you shared, for me, my personal favorite takeaway from your response was the entire process that you shared, that it is collecting data, looking at numbers, is a one teeny tiny bit of the entire process of making the things that you collect from the data into a
Yes.
practical, workable environment for you to have that clinical setup and, reaching to the community who needs the services. So I think you have shared a wonderful journey
I
out
hope
there,
so.
and I'm sure many optometrists will be like, looking at public health in a different perspective now on. Another thing that I would like to ask you, when you talk about education, is, that is the area you're working on. Do you mean educating the volunteers, or is it educating the community about the importance of eye care, or is it combination of both?
Okay, so here I'm talking about generating clinical human resource who will go back to the community and give services to people. So I'm talking about allied ophthalmic professionals and optometrists,
Hmm.
where they get trained in certain institutes, and we identify these students and make sure that they study in a great environment, and they go back to their own community where there is a requirement of eye health services. So this educational initiative is in where the plan is to train 2000 allied ophthalmic professionals. So when I say allied ophthalmic professional, WHO defines this as ophthalmic technician, ophthalmic assistant, orthoptist, ophthalmic nursing, OT technician, etc., etc. So if I just
Yeah.
give you an idea, like when you go to an eye hospital, or for the kind of people whom you meet through the entire journey, from the reception to you are meeting your doctor, and if there is a surgery, then you are going to an OT. So all the cadre whom you meet, they are allied ophthalmic professional, allied health professionals,
Yes.
which is optometrist, and and of course medical professional, who are your ophthalmologist. So we need to have a strong base so that the people get good quality
Right.
services all the time. So there is a huge need of this, because India is the fourth largest country where the blindness is prevalent. So we need this strong team, because eye health
Right.
service delivery is a team effort. We need everybody in it. Only doctor cannot do refraction, I cannot do surgery. Similar way, we need
Absolutely.
people, strong team, just like a cricket. Everybody has their own role. If team doesn't play, we lose the match. So it's the same way. So what I
Absolutely.
do, I make sure that these students we identify again. We pick up students from the lower bottom of the pyramid of socioeconomical strata. So if I just give you an example of the profile these students come from, so they come from rural area. They are you know uh, coming from a family which is below poverty line, and they are having science background, but they don't have opportunity to
Hmm.
grow because of the financial reason and other exposure. So we pick up these students through our partner institute, and we get them into best of the
Right.
institutes, and they study with them for 2 years, 3 years, and everything is absolutely free for these kids. They get paid stipend, and plus once they complete the course successfully, they get placements as well. So we make sure.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so we
fantastic.
are not only creating a skilled human resource workforce, but we are also making sure that we are empowering these kids,
Right.
so that they can grow socioeconomically and financially independent. And in this, 70% are female. So this is very close to me, because I believe in uh, we as a female, it is very difficult to get opportunities, especially when you are in
Right.
different part of the country. It's very difficult to come out of that shell and be someone whom you want to be. So this project entirely is very close to my heart. In this 1 year, I have seen so many things. I think that keeps me going for continuing this work.
Absolutely. I think what you just shared itself makes it sound so much worth of your knowledge in optometry, and what you can change is building this community force which can help everyone towards the same mission of eradicating blindness, what I think we all are for in this profession.
Absolutely.
Another thing which I want to follow up on what you just mentioned about public health, the work you're doing, there's another huge myth, reality, it's a gray
Mhm.
area where people feel that it's very satisfying to be done, but is it really financially rewarding? So, what are your thoughts on the monetary returns of this profile?
Oh yeah. Thanks you asked this question because even I thought the same way, right? That Jola leke ghumo. Okay, monetary it is very
Right.
rewarding. It is very rewarding. I just give you the difference between a corporate or a mainstream job which we do and a social sector. Social sector is actually very rewarding, monetary as well as job satisfaction. When you are in a corporate or any business sector or any economy driven sector, where there you work on profits and revenue, and then there is a backward calculation that how do we reach that in social sector, thanks to
Correct.
philanthropy and lot of good people who wants to invest in public health. What here is the money can be raised, it has been raised. Now it's up to you that the execution is so flawless that it reaches the beneficiary. So hope you understand the first reverse.
Right.
Second thing is, it does
Right.
not discount the kind of work which you're going to do. So I also have my KPIs, I have my targets, I have everything. So it's not that the work is very
Right.
dilla dhalla. So the work what is being done,
Right.
it's the way my I was doing in corporate. Maybe I'm doing 200% more work over here, I'm not joking. But and it is very meticulously it is being done. So this is the difference. And as I said, it is very rewarding financially as well.
I think that is something which will encourage many listeners who would, even consider going into public health, because there is
True.
a known bias or a myth about, oh, you know what, corporate, yes, you're going to get X amount of money immediately, but NGO or working for non-profit, I might have to struggle for 5 years and then I can think about, meeting my needs. Well, it's not true.
No, no, it is not.
Now, you have, as we had mentioned, you have taken so many roles. Are there any major hurdle or limitations that you had to face, throughout this journey?
Okay, so absolutely. Whenever we start a different role, like when I'm jumping from academics to corporate or corporate to public health, it's about learning the rules of the game. It is very important. We need to understand that every sector works in a different way. So first couple of months, you need to sit back, observe, and learn what is happening, and then start applying your skill. So the challenges are to understand that sector very well and then
Right.
take it forward. So your observation skills, your analytical skills, your negotiation skills, all the skills comes into play that helps you. And of course public relationship, because as you are moving from one
Right.
sector to another, you're meeting so many new people and you have to create rapport from the scratch, so that you can have a
Right.
thriving environment for you to work your best. So these are the challenges, but I think it is manageable. There is something called as transferable skills. So I may
Mm-hmm.
just share something interesting. I didn't know what was this. I was doing all these changing fields and things like that, but I read about it. I'm actually a big fan of Elon Musk, who is a everybody. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows him. Yeah. So just for an idea, like the Iron Man is actually loosely based on Elon Musk. when Stanley made it. Of course, 1980s Iron Man was made, but still, it is still loosely based on Elon Musk. So this guy has a degree in physics, and he's making rockets. He's making, neural chips, to making an electric car, to boring. I mean, he's just constructing some tunnels in Los Angeles, and having solar panel, and he's excellent at doing everything.
Right.
So I was just reading, I was fascinated, like, how is he doing it? So he spoke about this transferable skills, that you need to understand that business from the best of the expert in that field. So you meet those expert, understand what that business is all about, and whatever skills you have learned, actually that can be transferred. So
Mhm.
if you ask me, the way I give you an analogy between corporate, the way corporate works, and public
Right.
health, there is so much of similarity. It's up
Right.
to us, that how do we remove those wheel and understand that how they work similar.
Absolutely.
So this was the skill which I learned through my reading. And that helps. You need to keep reading from different sectors, from different people, and you will find the commonality, and that can be used everywhere. So I
Absolutely.
would say, this is my answer to the question which you asked me.
I think you shared a wonderful thing because everyone has or will face these kind of hurdles and limitations where you have the hesitation. Will you be able to perform in the new role? But if you focus on these
Yes.
transferable skills, I'm sure you can thrive just like you have done, and leave a benchmark for others to follow.
Okay.
I know we're talking a lot about optometry, but just to make this a little more candid, I've added a new fun section which I'd like to call a rapid fire with Sweta Patel. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you have to give me the immediate answer, whatever comes in your mind, just like any rapid fire that I'm sure you have seen.
Okay. So am I getting a hamper?
Unfortunately, no hamper. All you'll get is like listeners responding you and knowing a little more about you.
Lovely. I'm just kidding. I'm excited. Let's just do this.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Just respond whatever is your first option.
Okay.
Student life or work life?
I would say work life.
Okay, good. And second question, binocular vision or contact lenses?
Binocular vision.
Okay. And if we had to write an autobiography about you, what would be the title that you would think about?
She didn't know.
All right. Now, your favorite superhero?
Iron Man.
I think you just shared it earlier. All right. Now, as you had mentioned, you are a traveler.
Yeah.
Your favorite travel destination?
Oh my God. This is the most
It's rapid,
tough
whatever
question.
comes first in your mind.
Okay. Okay. I would say, Himachal Pradesh in India, because it has
Uh-huh.
Himalayas, and that's where it's a beautiful place. So yeah, I would go with that.
Wonderful. Now, rank in order of your favorite and the most preferred option: teaching, corporate life, and public health work.
I would say teaching, then public health, and then corporates.
Wonderful. Again, something on a similar line. Rank in the order of your favorite: travel, food, optometry.
Oh, okay. I'll go with travel, food, and optometry.
Okay, same sequence.
Yes,
All right, wonderful. Dancing or singing? What do you like to do?
I would love to do dancing.
Wonderful. I wish you would say singing.
People will die if I sing.
All right. If you could change one thing in optometry curriculum or add something to optometry curriculum, what would that be?
Life skills.
Wonderful. And the last question. No hamper though, but still, last question. One thing you would like to change about yourself.
I want to, I want to work on my writing skills.
Ah,
So I'm working on it.
wonderful. Perfect. Thank you so much. No
Thank
hamper, but I
you.
think you
Okay,
did
this was so much fun.
fantastic.
I would just need a hug from you.
Absolutely. We're all going to have a virtual hug with the current situation. But yes, all
Yeah,
hugs.
the isolating. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, before we end this podcast, one last thing that I would like to ask you. You have given a lot of takeaway messages, but one takeaway message which you'd like to share, which has, stuck, what would that be?
So, as you know, everybody talks about success, and people look forward to be successful. So I'm just going to share some sent from one of my favorite author called Mark Manson. So it goes like this, that things don't people don't tell you about success is that it never happens when or the way you expect it to happen. Second thing is, people's reactions will surprise you in both ways, maybe good or bad. And third thing is, it's never as satisfying as it was in your head. So these are my scent, and none of all these reasons are not to go for it. So yeah, this is how I want to conclude today's discussion.
I think this is a wonderful takeaway for everyone to be aware while they are trying to achieve their term or their definition of success. And I think that's a wonderful takeaway. Thank you once again for being part of this podcast and the episode and being the first one where I started this rapid fire. So thank you once again for all your support. Yes.
Yay!
And do thank you so much. And everyone who are listening, do follow me on Instagram to not miss out on any update. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ukti.